Can the Robert Rodriguez film that you are just now learning exists really be that good? And with Ben Affleck? Let's talk about that. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Hypnotic, the newest film from director Robert Rodriguez. So returning from a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, Robert Rodriguez is back with a new film called Hypnotic, which of course stars Ben Affleck. It's a story of a cop who has a daughter that has gone missing or has been missing for quite a while. He is going to therapy, and one day he is chasing after a character played by William Fichtner, and it leads him to another character played by Braga, who tells him about this thing called Hypnotic, who are these group of people similar to something like Dark City, where they are able to manipulate in a very Christopher Nolan Inception style way the world around him, which opens up the possibility of the things that Ben Affleck's character are seeing may not be exactly true, and it leads him down a path that is spoilerish, so I will not get into that kind of details as this is a spoiler-free review. So it basically becomes an action film directed by Robert Rodriguez with Ben Affleck, Alice Braga, and people like William Fichtner and Jeff Fahey. So there you go. Hypnotic is a film I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't even realize was coming out. This is very under the radar for even Robert Rodriguez, who is a director of many talents. He, of course, just recently did stuff like The Book of Boba Fett, and of course, The Mandalorian. He's a director that is, infamous for doing very low budget films. He's also infamous for having style and being very stylistic in what he approaches. And then Ben Affleck is in this movie, which is interesting because Ben Affleck just did Air. He's an actor who's very talented in his own right as a director. So him coming into a film like this, the trailer looked interesting, to be fairly honest. Whether this movie makes any money, I don't think it will, but it is what it is. But, it's Robert Rodriguez directed a new movie with Ben Affleck, who's very talented. The question remains, is this movie worth watching? Is it any good? Well, if you want to see a movie that feels like a ripoff of Inception a little bit, meets like Dark City, meets all these kind of films kind of mixed into a boiling pot of whatever, it's fine. It's fine for a Robert Rodriguez film. It's not his most well-written or directed. It's, partly co-written by his son, Racer. It either feels like a movie that either Robert Rodriguez felt passionate about doing or wanted to feel like an homage to a Christopher Nolan film or something of that nature. But I really think that Robert Rodriguez is much more talented than the stuff he's delivering on screen here. This movie, with its runtime, is only 85 minutes before credits, and it moves really quickly, which Robert Rodriguez is known for doing. He's not known for being very toned down when it comes to his stories. They're very in your face. They're very action oriented. They move, and that's what happens here. But the story gets so lost in the mix of everything you're trying to comprehend because there's a lot of exposition that comes into this film, especially when Alice Braga comes into the mix, that you completely just kind of lose the subtext and context for what this movie is trying to do. It's very interesting especially when you have William Fichtner in this movie and what he represents and how his story plays out, how it leads to its eventual conclusion. Like I said, they're searching for his daughter, which comes into the mix as you've seen from the trailer. But I feel that this movie just doesn't have direction. It feels very light. It feels like a movie that needed more context and more subtext and more meat to the bone because it's so condensed that you just lose everything about it. And I don't know. I feel like Robert Rodriguez has much more potential than what he represents on this movie. And I feel like this movie could have been something special and just turned into another movie that's released in the middle of May that wants some money out of your pocket and people will pay because they love Robert Rodriguez. But, even though I was thank you to giving me the review copy for this film, I didn't feel it was very interesting, to be fairly honest. It leads into a lot of movies you've seen before. And it doesn't feel original, even for Robert Rodriguez. At least, stuff like Alita Battle Angel or Once Upon a Time in Mexico or even Planet Terror, there feels some love put into those movies. Sin City is a perfect example of a movie that feels like it has a lot of love put into it. But this movie feels very generic. It feels very by the book. It doesn't feel original at all. It's just kind of sad, to be fairly honest. And then on top of that, Ben Affleck just feels very bored in this movie. The way he talks, his cadence, he's very quiet and dry, and just is like, when he approaches things on the screen, it feels like he's just like, which is really weird because he's being directed by Robert Rodriguez, and I'm sure he appreciates who Robert Rodriguez is and what he does. But it just feels like they're just doing this for a paycheck, to be fairly honest. No pun intended, because he did a movie called Paycheck. But it just, I don't know. I don't know what happened here, but the trailer is much more interesting than what we got on screen, and I just feel very sad about that. And like I said, it's just not a movie with a lot of substance at all. It's very, very bare bones when it comes to its material. There are things that happen in this movie, which I won't spoil, which make you question why they did this, why they had that, why it's structured like this, why the visual effects look like this, why is everything planned like it is. When you get to the eventual kind of reveal, the eventual what exactly is going on, it's just like, I don't think it was thought through very well. I think that's what his main problem is, and I think that's what this movie's main problem is. It's just not very well thought through, and that's sad. It really is, because I love Robert Rodriguez. I think he's one of the great true talents in the film industry, just in what he's able to do with the budgets that he's given. You saw what he did with Alita. You saw what he did with El Mariachi. You saw what he did with Sin City, and then you saw what he did like the Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. And here, yeah, it's just not a very good movie. It's not going to be the worst of the year. It's not going to be the best of the year. It's just going to be middle of the road, forgettable, Robert Rodriguez fare. So it's unfortunate. Like I said, I'll still see anything that Robert Rodriguez does. He's deserving of, my money and everything, because he's done such great stuff. But for right now, this is just not a movie I recommend. So anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on this film, Hypnotic, which is a terrible title for a film, but it fits into the title of the characters themselves and what they represent. And yeah, there you go. So that's my review of Hypnotic. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. Did you see this movie? What did you think overall? Because it was a Regal mystery movie. But with that said, anyways, if you like what you see on this video, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top the fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.